Ta-da! My name's Brendan Cassin. I'm the project manager at Grow Speke, which is the community garden that's run by Groundwork, who I work for as my employer, and Sadlerful Homes, you see from the logos we've got here. So I've been asked to basically do a sort of whistle-stop tour through how we set up Grow Speke as a community food growing space, / training centre, / wellbeing hub, / everything else. We're all sounds like we're preached and converted in this room. We're all on that sort of spectrum of development of community food growing spaces. So some of this you'll know, you've written the Bible on it yourselves and do things better in a different way. But it's just that this is our journey, really, how we've developed this space and how we distribute food across South Liverpool to the communities that we serve, really. So just a quick little talk to it. It's very informal. There's quite a few pictures in there. I'm just going to talk over the pictures. If you want to ask any questions as we go, feel free to stick your hand up and ask away, really. So, yeah, so my name's Brendan Cassin. I'm the project manager. I've been working on the project now for about 5 years. We started the project 5 years ago, in 2017. So these are sort of the headings I roughly want to go through with you, just to give you an idea as to how we've done it. So how we developed the site from scratch, what partnerships we have developed to enable the site to be developed, the activities and events that we put on the site, and then zooming, focusing down on, because we do lots of things as well as growing food, but today's all about food growing, is to zoom in on how we grow our food, harvest it and distribute it to the local community. And then how we work closely with Sadlerful Homes in their marketplace, which is their food co-op or community supermarket, whichever way you want to call it. And finally, just to go through some of the cook and eat sessions that we've done in the past 2 years, really, during the lockdown we've all had. So, moving on. So, Grow Speke is on the site of the old boys club, which, if any of you are familiar with South Liverpool, the huge Speke estate was built out the side of the Second World War. And fell into dereliction, the site at the old boys club. It's a dads and lads club, basically, 80 metres square, surrounded by houses on 4 sides. Fell into rack and ruin, and the site's been derelict for years, full of antisocial behaviour, cars being burnt out, prostitution, drug dealing, you name it, everything went on site. The people surrounding the site were fed up of the sight of people doing things they shouldn't have done. So Sadlerful Homes, or SLH as they're known, came to Groundwork about 5 years ago and asked our architects and development managers, our development manager at the time, to look at how we could rejuvenate the site, basically, and put some plans together with the communities to turn it into a space that the community could adopt. So in the early days, this is it, basically. This was like week 1. So you can see the old fencing's been knocked down. People could just drive on, burn a car out, do what they wanted. This is Colin, one of our volunteers. He's been with us about 4 years now. This on the right hand side is a tarmac area that would have been a football pitch for kids with floodlights around. That was actually the remnants of an old wall that would have gone all the way around. So you imagine it's just literally been flattened and left, complete dereliction. So SLH and Groundwork united with the common goal of improving the site. So we developed a really weighty master plan that was like this thick of all the things we wanted to do on site from our architects team. We pulled together a group of local partners. As you all know, nothing happens without partnership. So we looked at how we could court funders, so the Police and Crime Commissioner through community cashback funding in the early days. Jaguar Land Rover in Speke around the corner. Kia Construction came down, did some corporate days with us to help us clear the site. So we picked our partners wisely, the ones we could hit the deck running really and get some good traction on the project. But the biggest issue was clearing the site, because it was basically contaminated, derelict site. So everything we've done has gone up, we've built on top of things. If we've taken any spoil out, it's been replaced with good clean topsoil that we've mixed in with some of the brick dust on site, which will come to that in a minute. So we engaged the community through Sadlerful Homes. So we're very much, the brand is Grow Speke, but the two partners are Sadlerful Homes and Groundwork. So you see on the left, so you've got 80 metres square site. So there's the football pitch at the back. This was the actual building. The boxing club was there, toilets there. Imagine a 1940s, 50s building, completely derelict. And our architects came up with a vision and master plan for the site. This is our second iteration of the design, where we wanted to put at the back of the site a meanwhile area with the 24 fruit trees in. Is that something playing on that speaker? Someone's phone. Was it yours? I thought I'd added something into the presentation. I think they give us 100 of those for nothing, and tomatoes and chilies and melons. We do all sorts of stuff. So yeah, raised beds planted up. It's very water and labour intensive, as you probably similar experiences here, where you've got, once the growing season starts, it's all hands on deck to keep things watered and harvest before the harvesting period, to nurture through the season. We're organic on site, so there's no pesticides, there's no sprays, nothing. It's all bees. It's just people's hands pulling weeds constantly, which is good for people's mental well-being and physical activities. So great team building, the knowledge sharing across literally standing across a raised bed with somebody weeding some carrots. You share your life stories, you share your problems, you can go down rabbit holes, as you all know, around benefit advice, or you name it, it's a route into someone's life really, for them to open up to you. So it's not just about the growing. So this is the front part of the site. This is probably the last 10 raised beds we've got, I think, because I'm not a horticulturalist, I'm a geographer by trade. So when people ask me about certain things and Latin names, I just go, So, is that curly kale? It is curly kale, isn't it? Yes, I know it, yeah. And we've got sweet corn in the background, we've got strawberries in the bed on the right hand side, and that's the apiary down the back. So the bees do our work for us really. Our beekeeper told us that they fly 2 miles out and 2 miles back, and we watched them one day and we went, they don't, they just go from there to there and back again. why would you? No, I think technically they do, but if there's loads of stuff to feed on, they'll just do it next year. So that's sort of the height of last summer, I think it was that. So it goes from nothing to greenery and then back down again. So these are the boxes I mentioned. So each one of those has probably got 5, 7, 15 trays of lettuce in there. Multiplied up, so that was one run on Friday afternoon in my car with the seats down, and we did that every Friday for probably 10 weeks during the April and May, or probably 8 weeks. That gets distributed off to, before it goes in the ground, we use a lot of it on site to grow on and then augment to the marketplace. I'll come on to in a second. But we created little veg boxes for families, so if they wanted to grow it in the back gardens, they said, right, you come down and we'll do you a couple of carrots, a couple of radishes, you know, whatever. And then we did videos how to build a little raised bed in your back garden. A lot of the houses in Speke, you see, they're quite big semis, and they've got a lot of space, and they're not being used at all. A lot of them have been flagged over, they've just got issues in the back garden. Well, that was sort of a massive trampoline, you can see, just behind our yellow cabin there. So they're not utilised, so we try and do education workshops and say, like, it's dead easy, turn the soil over, whack them in, get the kids out, see what grows. So it's education work as well. So we distribute a lot of it as well. We had an influx of stuff that we gave off to other community gardens across. Some of you guys might have received it. We were all blinkered, weren't we, during lockdown? We were all getting stuck into our own family lives and furloughed or whatever, so a lot of the veg went off to other organisations. Well, you can see we're dead lucky to have this relationship with Quanto, really. It's really, really lucky. So if you want anything, come and see me at the end. If you want, I can try and ramp this up and spread the love, as it were, because we've probably got more than we can shift sometimes, unless you want to grow it from seed yourselves. So the distribution side of things, so once we've grown through the season, we have a small network. We'd like to grow the network around Speke. So we have Noah's Ark Church, Baptist Church. We have the Five Centre in Speke, which is like a children's centre that we provide food to. We have St Aidan's and All Saints Church to provide into the community cafe, the place to be. But the main recipient is the marketplace, which is South Liverpool Homes Community Supermarket, which I'll go into a bit more detail now. So this is the Five Centre on the left. So we did these little packs that we gave out to the families. So as they were there with the kids on a Tuesday morning during toddler time, we said, here you go, come here. There's a radish. Ooh, what's a radish? You know, not having that. So you do a bit of education and show people how you can grow different things. And they're half grown for them, you know. People just see them in the supermarket finished. You see it from a seedling onwards. And this is at the place to be, which is the church food co-op mentioned. This is Helen, one of our Kickstarters, who's just left. Helen's been on a 6-month placement with us. She's literally just finished this weekend. She wants to run her dad runs a farm in, I think it's Tanzania, and she's not seen him for a couple of years, and she wants to go and help him on the family farm. But she was a Rwandan refugee. She came over as a child to the UK when she was 3, fled persecution, and she's been to university, she's got a degree. She wants to go back and see her dad, who's now moved over to Africa again. So she's learning skills on the on the plains of Speke with us, the tarmac plains of Speke. So she's been brilliant, Helen. She's learned lots, she's added loads into the project. So there are a couple of places that we send it to, but the main thing is we send it to the marketplace. So community supermarket run by South Liverpool Homes. Excuse me. Talking, my voice goes. £3 subscription. You've got to be a tenant or a resident to participate in the scheme, and that unlocks £15 worth of food. It's mostly non-perishable and short-dated stuff. So I guess that you guys have worked with FairShare, or you know FairShare. Yeah. So it's one of the distribution hubs in South Liverpool that South Liverpool Homes have got the relationship with FairShare around, and around the corner from us as well, FairShare. So we go and get, when we're doing our cooking events, they let us in, we go around, it's like supermarket sweep, we go around and say, is the fillet beef on today? Like, we get the deer stuff, you know. So yeah, it's mostly non-perishable stuff, so rice, pasta, Kellogg's cereal that's short dated, but then we top it up with everything from site, and we basically show people how to make meals. We do, I'll come to a second, we do recipe kits and we do recipe cards to show people. Because the biggest, we did at the start of lockdown, we did an outdoor session. We've got a big like barrow, we put produce on, and there's a queue of people coming to get stuff, and they kept walking past us, going straight for the Kellogg's, you know, shreddies or whatever. It's just the sugary stuff, and we've done like, an apple, no, you know, just making people stop and have a think how they could. A lot of these were older people as well who just got out of habit of eating fresh fruit and veg because they were probably poor and didn't think they could afford it. So we top it up through the seasons, and from that, this is Justin McCullough again. This is Colin and Johnny. That was the first ever harvest we did 3 years actually now, and we dropped off. This is the marketplace, and the silly shells behind with PG tips in there and things. First ever drop off, and then we have this cart where we have a bit of a, as the name suggests, marketplace where people come and get a bag of 2 spuds in there. It's got a bit of carrot in there if you want to make a stew pack. Do scouts packs all the time. For obvious reasons, it's a nice easy meal to cook. And then finally moving on to sort of cook and eat sessions. So on a Friday we have the cook and eat sessions informal on site. It's a reason to get people together as a get together really. But we do roughly 40 events at the marketplace where Justin puts his Ready Steady Cook headset on with a proper professionally set up kitchen, and people sit around and we have 2 hours worth of cooking sessions. The first one we did, Justin, don't tell him if you ever speak to him that said this, but he's a very good cook, and he was cooking things that you would never think you'd eat in Speke. He was doing halloumi fries for people, and people going, this is a piece of rubber, what's this? And yeah, give us another one, you know, just and teaching people how to use different ingredients and not being scared of trying something that's a bit different. That first session we did a sweet potato curry. South Liverpool Homes gave them a bag, each participant, of all the ingredients. And we had tweets that night of people making it for the first. They'd never made a curry in their lives before, never mind a sweet potato curry. And we had pictures back and families having a go. It was really, really good. It took a lot of setting up, but the return on that investment time is really good. What it's all about is you probably do similar things yourselves, is reducing food waste and helping people make better choices about how they purchase food. We were talking about it before, weren't we, on the table? In our own lives, we cut corners. Preaching now, but cutting corners, getting the air fryer on for the kids, and because of the time, you know, you just want to get some food cooked. But it's about preparing and batch cooking. The cost of living increase is shooting up at the minute. It's about just having a bit of education, passing that on. So the cooking eat side of things is really important to us. This is Justin with his lockdown hair. That's it there in the middle there. This is at FairShare. We did a cook and eat session. We just went round this. He picked up a lot of stuff, and they were pleased that stuff was moving into people's bellies in Speke. Just to finish up on the cook and eat side of things, during lockdown we were lucky enough to get some money from Merseyside Recycling and Waste Authority through the community fund. Have anybody else got the community funding, I guess? Yeah, so we did a programme called Let's Speak About Food. Another naff pun, but I didn't come with that one this time. And just as we got the approval to deliver, I think it was 12 sessions, lockdown happened. So we did them all online, live Facebook stream, or we videoed it, so it was really difficult. It's chopped it off at the top level. We basically came up with recipe cards. So we did, Justin and I did a film crew from Southern Homes filming us. We did a full Christmas dinner in a pizza oven. because that's all we had. It was a little pizza oven that big, so we spatch cooked the chicken, we did everything from scratch, and then we did a load of leftover meals, so we did like Singapore fried rice the following day, bubble and squeak, and we filmed them all and sent all the recipe cards out to local residents, and people again sent tweets back and showed us how they cook their food. So that's been really good to help people try and reduce the food waste. So we're looking at repeating that this year now from spring onwards, because it was really interesting way of doing it. And that's one of the press shots that SLH did. We did that was the first one. We did the first couple of events. So that's the marketplace. So we're dead lucky to have a partner like Southwood Homes who take this seriously. They're really good environmentally and socially sound organisation as a housing association. They have some really good members of staff who have people and places at the heart, really, I think. They have an environment officer, a welfare officer, engagement team, and we all work closely with them to help the tenants and residents as best we can. And the marketplace really is how we channel and funnel our food from Grow Speke into local families in Speke, really. So if this works, I will be very pleased, because my voice is about to pack in. Excuse me, these are some of the examples. So Justin did a pizza day. He used to be a pizza chef when he was at uni in Cambridge 20 years ago, so we made homemade pizzas. He did paella with some mussels that were... go to Morrison's in Speke, they have a fish counter. No one buys fish in Speke. You can basically choose what you want. You can have a swordfish for £1. So he goes in every day, he goes, Laura, I've got to have not another one. We do it now, we'll marinare and Speke. But we did some fantastic sessions with people. And this was one we did the other week. Justin got a load of marked down Seville oranges and made some marmalade out of it with the volunteers. So we did loads of really fun stuff. So a little video, if it plays. Cross your fingers. So this is a picture of the site. There's the polytunnel, there's the apiary. This is our cooking house, three shipping containers in a courtyard, and we have an outdoor kitchen set up. So this was during lockdown. Look at the social distancing. We had to measure out with the tape, measure partner risk assessment. And Justin did a pizza session with music. The bottles on the table there, they are all cider bottles that we've done cider the past 3 years. We basically go to Speke all every year, nick all their apples, we scrump them. we get in, we're allowed it. And we basically made a load of cider, and we give it out to events. We can't sell it. This row of old beers at the front, they were legless in about half an hour, because they'd not been out of the house for 2 years. And they, and they're the best day that you had to pick them up together now. It was really fun. So I hope this plays to give you the gist of it.
Say hello, everybody. Come on, yes.
You get the gist. So that's it pretty much. Just a whistle stop tour of what we've done at Grow Speke the last 5 years, how we develop the site, food growing, production, distribution, and the cooking eat side of things, and community engagement. There are my contact details on the bottom, and if you want to see what we're doing day to day or week to week, or look back through the history of the project, I always say to people, if you're interested for your own ideas, you're sharing ideas, is to go on our Facebook and Twitter feed and just slide back through the videos and photographs, because it tells the story of the site development. So I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions? Please shout, or I'll sit down and move on.
Are you open for visitors?
Of course, yeah.
Come along.
Yeah, without doubt. You mean as a group or individuals or both?
Individuals.
Yeah, individuals just literally turn up 10 till 3, Tuesday to Friday. We've got a programme that's on social media that we've just started to tweet now, so we know what we're doing more week to week. So set sessions, so Wednesday's like a craft session, Friday's cooking, Tuesday's more construction and skill-based stuff. So we have set themes across the day. What we're doing each session fluctuates. We have a look on social media. on those links there, and Groundwork and Sadler Lawns websites that'll be on there. Yeah, just turn up, or if you want to bring a group down, say my number, we'll swap info, and we do loads of guided tours with groups and hope to hook groups and people in that way. Excuse me.
Do you go into Speke instead? How do you get to it?
It's on. We have a bit strange. We haven't actually got a postcode for the because it's a derelict site. I think it had its postcode removed. So we use one of the neighbours' addresses, 91 Gamworth Road, which is an alleyway on the. Should I go back through? This too far. You basically got a service road that runs down the Speke Airport's Liverpool Airport's here. It's about 150 metres from our wall to the tower. So depending on which way the wind's blowing, you hear the jets all, or you get a whiff of the aviation fuel. So this was like kite some days. So you've got an entrance there, and here the big art gates that were put in to stop people coming in, an art feature. So yeah, that's 91 Gamworth Road. The head for that, and we're straight down into our gate there. So if you want to come down and just give me a shout, and we'll book you in. Or just turn up. Because we've got that, the earlier slide I showed you, which didn't have. Was it Cameron's previous, wasn't it? That one. It was literally open. In the middle of the tarmac area, there's 3 or 4 poplar trees growing out in the middle of the tarmac. They're just self-seeded because someone burnt a car up there about 15 years ago, so we just melted it. So we had loads of problems, but since we put the fence on, I always quote this one. The only social area we've had, the first night we put the polytunnel in, we came in the following morning and it was full of holes in the roof, and we thought, oh no, somebody's been on, what's going on? And we worked it out. There were seagulls. Honestly, because the polytunnel, we shut the doors and it was middle of summer, it was full of flies and spiders, and they were just sat on the top pecking. We watched them the following night, and they must have realised they couldn't get in, and they didn't do it again. The first night, it was like someone gone along with like a screwdriver, just popping the roof. That's the only problem we've had. We get loads of drug paraphernalia dropped off outside the gates. I don't think it's some sort of philanthropic cannabis farmers, but we get loads of like compost dropped off, and like the stuff they grow in, like the buckets and things. Like, where's this going? We use it. So if you have any of our carrots, if you have any hallucinogenic episodes, you didn't get it from our soil. Go on, sorry.
What you were saying before about when people will come in to see you, but in Grow Speke for the sweet stuff and
Yeah.
I like the idea of the recipe cards.
Yeah.
Because from our food bank and the food pantry, people avoid
They do.
this stuff. So I really like the idea of the recipe cards to put in the bag so that you can go home and actually cook food out.
It's a simple
Is
thing.
that on your website? Is it?
Yeah, they're all on
You
there.
can print them,
You could print them straight off. Yeah, they'll be on. They'll be on. If you go through our social media feed, probably last summer they were all on there in order, I think.
Yeah.
Or if you go on Twitter, they'll be on there definitely.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is about literacy, because we've tried to write the cards as simple as possible. That's what we patronise the people. So, people, they're a bit daunted by reading an ingredients list or how-to list. So it's really literally bullet points. This is what you do.
Because we do find that the people just go for the process stuff.
They completely.
The shortcuts, conflicts, and just literally because it's
What we've said this year now, because it's a really nice setup at the marketplace. We're going to Justin is going to go down probably on a Tuesday and set up a little camping stove, and he'll be in there all day, and he'll be basically stopping people and saying, right, this week, it's like Maddie said, Cook used to be on the telly, as the Ainsley Barry was. So this is what we've got in this week. Like, grab that pasta, grab that. This is what we're going to do today, and he'll cook it outside, so people physically get cajoled almost into cooking a meal out of what's on offer. Otherwise, they'll have 50 bags of pasta home and never cook them, or some Cheerios. So yeah, that's why it's a good. It does work. So take what you want off the website.